Welcome, Chosen One.
Hey guys, welcome to the Ace of Plays channel and to a brand new, what I hope to be, a long-running video series. Today I am proud to present the first episode of Custom Card Review. Card Review. So yeah, I am a big fan of creating custom cards and seeing other people's custom cards, and there are a few rare posts on Reddit every now and then, but I really wanted to bring up the custom card creation community. That's a lot of C's. That's 4 C's. Wanted to bring it up, give it a platform to shine on, and because I myself would like to participate more in this community, I figured why not do it in a video series on my channel. So a few weeks ago I made a video asking you guys to send me custom cards, and I was hoping for maybe a handful, but I think I got 25 or so, which is really amazing. So thank you to everyone who participated. I will not be showing all of them today. Like I said, I got a lot more than I expected, so we have at least one more video. Thank you. We have at least one more video with just the cards that have been sent already, but I highly encourage everybody to keep sending cards, and we can make this maybe a bi-weekly thing, monthly thing, we'll see. But yeah, if you want to know how to send the custom cards, just stick around till the end and I will go over all that information then. But now let us get into the custom cards, because I've been blabbing on for too long. Okay. The first card I have to show you today is Footman of the Flaming Rose. This is one of several cards sent to me on Discord by Foltest the Great, so King Foltest himself. To support a new archetype that they've created, they've even included a new keyword, which is Faith, which says that whenever you play a Cleric, boost self by 1. And they've added a couple of Clerics later on, which we will see. But apparently, Prophet Leviota and what's it called, Nathaniel Bestodi or whatever from the dual faction cards are Clerics, and will synergize with this archetype. So Footman of the Flaming Rose is a 3-strength unit. We don't know the provisions, but that's not that important. It has Faith, and deploy damage an enemy unit by 2. If it is a monster, damage it by 4 instead. Now, I'm not a huge fan of abilities that just specifically target a single faction. If you're against monsters, then this guy is insane. Just straight up kills a Slizzard. Whereas other matchups, it doesn't really do much. Otherwise, I do like this card though. I like the Faith keyword. I think it's really cool, because of how it allows you to, have cards that have their effects, but then you also get a little bit of a boosting every now and then when you play, Clerics and shit, because these guys are obviously very religious, and when you start bringing in the Clerics, strengthening their faith, they fight even harder. So that aspect I really like. I don't know if I'm a fan of the whole targeting a specific faction. Alright, moving on. I'm sorry if that last cut seemed a little bit weird. I was having some issues, but it's all been solved. This next card also from Foltest the Great. Another card for this Flaming Rose archetype. Well, actually, a little bit. It has Faith. But this is also more focused on the Knight archetype, which he also wanted to, strengthen. This is Siegfried of Denesle, so maybe related to Ike in some way. It's a 4-strength Knight. It has Faith, which I like. Deploy on the melee row, boost all allied knights by 1. So definitely a late round card for knight archetype. Just really getting a payoff for playing that specific tag. An order on the melee row. If you control 3 or more knights, destroy the highest enemy unit. Potentially a strong ability, of course. In Foltest, this card could be massive, because you just give it Zeal and just destroy the highest enemy unit, which is something Foltest can already do, basically, with Gauntro Dim. So it's not like this card is, Like that, the specific ability is massively insane, but I don't know. This would be a high provision card, but in the right deck, this could be just the finishing blow that takes the game away for you. So Siegfried gets a thumbs up from me. Now we have Siana, which she already exists in the game as a neutral card, but here we have her as a Nilfgaard card. Now I don't know much about the lore, so I'm just going to assume that this makes sense. It probably does. She's a 1 strength unit. She's supposed to have a gold border, but the creator forgot to add it in. And the creator is Praise Be the Great Sun, also on Discord. Very active on Discord, so I'm a big fan of that person. She has the order of forcing an allied unit to duel an enemy unit. Now her body's weak, and she's in a faction where getting Zeal is not that easy. But her ability is pretty insane. Being able to give any one of your allied units duel, like your 13 strength Tibor, for example, this could be worth a lot of points. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Like this, the ability is really cool. It really fits with like the art, where looks like she's like a tactician, like manipulating the board and being like, "Yep, you're gonna die," something like that. Ability really cool, and really strong. So the 1 strength body makes sense, but probably too fragile to ever see play, unfortunately. But I could be wrong. This could be worth playing. What's it called? The potion that gives Zeal. Could be worth it. Next up, also from Praise Be the Great Sun, is Geralt Oxy. A lot of people are wanting to see more of the Witcher signs in form of Geralt cards, and this is one of them. It's a 2 strength, 13 provision, so definitely in line with the Geralt theme. This one is more expensive than all the other Geralts, though. Order sees a unit whose strength is half of this unit. Now the problem with this card is not the flavor. From what little I've played of The Witcher 3, this does make a lot of sense for the Axii sign. But seizing a unit whose strength is half of this unit, like for this card to be worth its provision, you would at least have to steal like a 5 or a 6, and then this would have to be like at 10 or 12 strength. So there would have to be some changes to this card, just number-wise, but the ability is really cool. I enjoy the flavor of this card, and the art is also very cool. It has like a different art style, which I think Gwent should do more of. Like, I know they're all going for the more realistic type, but you could get a little bit artistic in there. So I love the idea of this card, but the numbers need to be tweaked, and like the half strength, I don't think that will work, just because of how much you would have to boost this. But yeah, cool card. I really like it. Moving on to a new card creator, Karglin, also on Discord. Join the Discord, link below. This is Raymond Marlowe, or Marlowe, a human agent for Syndicate, 8 provisions, 4 strength, profit 4, and a fee 4 on the ranged row, poison a unit, with a cooldown of 1. The cooldown definitely should be there. Being able to poison something for 4 coins, obviously you need 2 poisons to kill something, but Syndicate has cards that just poison on deploy without having to pay money. So potentially this could be a nice way to combo with that to set up some big kills. And if you have a bounty on something, then you can just pay 4 to kill something with more than 4 base power, and then you make money. So I definitely like this card. Syndicate as well as Scoia'tael and Nilfgaard actually are trying to pull out these poison archetypes. None of them feel like they're really there yet, so adding more cards to that is definitely cool. Now I'm not a balanced champion, so I can't really tell if this is balanced or not. But right off the bat, I would say this is definitely in the ballpark of balanced. I don't know if it's too weak or too strong, but I don't think you will need to do a lot to make this card maybe actually see some play without being hated on Reddit. Our next card comes from Gorg Donuts, who sent this to me via email. This is Rally Point, which is an artifact for Northern Realms. Deploy, shield, and boost adjacent units by 2. Order: after 3 or more allied units are played, spawned, or summoned on this row, damage all units on the opposite row by 1. If the leader was used during this turn, damage the highest enemy unit by half instead. That's a lot of text. But the guy who sent me this did give a small explanation of why this card is the way it is, and you know, the flavor behind it. And it's basically like, it's a rally point. Like, you put this down, and then, you know, your troops are rallying around this point, and they get shielded and boosted. You know, they come together, and then once, you know, you've amassed, you know, enough of an attack force, you know, you either go charging in, you're damaging everything by 1, because like you're charging in a line, or if you use your leader, you know, then you're like, okay, let's go for the big boy, and everybody goes to the big boy and damages the highest enemy unit by half instead. I personally love cards with a lot of text, that they just make for some really cool, flavorful, synergistic, you know, just really fun cards to play. I really like this card, actually. I like the idea of like a rally point being an artifact. Maybe it's not an artifact in that sense, but like it could be just like a banner that you stick in the ground, like this is the rally point, and I think that qualifies to be an artifact. So I really like this card. Great work, Gorg Donuts. Now for this next one, I probably have to zoom in a little bit. Presumably this was created on a PC. In my experience, when you go on what's it called, like the Gwent card generator site, whenever I make cards on mobile, on my phone, and then download them, they seem to be a lot higher resolution than when I do it on my PC, which is weird, but that's just a tip for you guys. But it's not a problem. Like, we can read this. This was sent to me on Twitter by Daniel Griffiths. This is Endrega Nest. I think it's supposed to be Endrega. Yeah, he has written that later. It's a trap for monsters. With ambush, give the next unit played by your opponent bleeding for 2 turns and transform into 3 Endrega warriors. And it has zeal, so you can flip it right away and just get to 3 warriors without the bleeding effect. Now, I'm a big fan of taking mechanics that one faction definitely is focused on and just sprinkling it, you know, a little bit everywhere else. But I don't think trap is the way to go, just because like part of the thing about traps is that you play a trap and your opponent doesn't know what it is. Like, they can think their way to it, but unless monsters got a bunch of traps, like this wouldn't really, like there wouldn't be much of a point in this being a trap, sadly. But I love like the flavor of like monsters ambushing. Like, that makes a lot of sense. With the bleeding effect, like someone said this on the Discord, like with the bleeding effect, this could maybe work better in the vampire archetype. Which is definitely true. Vampires care more about bleeding than like Endrega warriors and insects. I think they're insectoids. They really look like insectoids. But this card is very cool. Like I said, like it being a trap probably has no purpose, sadly. Even though the ambush effect definitely looks cool in a monster archetype. What? Alright, we are back to Praise Be the Great Sun. Posted yet another card. This is Jetcar Aden, who's a Witcher for Syndicate. 9 provisions, 3 power. It has a shield. Order: damage a unit by 2, 1 charge. Gain a charge whenever a bounty is placed on an enemy unit, and if this unit's shield is broken, gain 3 coins. Like on the surface level, this is really cool. Like I don't know like the lore behind this character. And if the whole unit shield broken, gain 3 coins thing makes sense. I mean, it's cool. Like, it's an incentive to, like, for your opponent to not take off the shield. Although, if they do, this guy is pretty easy to kill. Because he only has 3 power. So, there's kind of a trade-off for both players, I think. Like, you gain less power, but it has a shield. Your opponent can remove the shield and easily kill it, but you get 3 coins. So it's like, both players kind of have to think with this card, which I really enjoy. And, you gain 1 charge whenever bounty is placed. I don't know if bounty needs more support, but I mean, it's cool. Like, it's an engine. Like, it's a Witcher engine for bounty. I'm assuming this guy is sort of like a bounty hunter. I mean, all Witchers, like, they take up contracts, so in that sense, it does make a lot of sense, which is really cool. So, and I love the art. Like, this guy looks like a badass. So that is awesome. Jetcar Aden, really cool. And a Syndicate Witcher, definitely interesting. Good work. Okay, Foltest the Great is back with a couple of more Flaming Rose cards. This is Cleric of the Flaming Rose, a 1 strength unit. Deploy heal 2 allied units and give them vitality for 2 turns. Of course, without knowing the provision cost of this card, it's kind of hard to tell if it's good or not. But healing 2 allied units, they don't have to be adjacent, so it could be any 2 allied units on the board. Healing them and, you know, gaining 4 points in the process, unless vitality is dealt with. You know, this seems like a decent, like, 5 provision card, just to fill in the archetype. It is a Cleric, so it will trigger Faith. So I think this is just a decent Faith trigger. And, yeah, like, you can gain 5 points just from the vitality and the body alone. But then you can get some healing value as well. So, like, 5 or 6 provisions maybe. And it'll trigger your Faith, which is very good. Now, is this art from, like, a Witcher game? It kind of doesn't look like it. Maybe... I mean, it has the Flaming Rose thing. Maybe it is from The Witcher. It's a really good art. Like the art for these Flaming Rose cards definitely fits very well. So good work on that. Like, that's a big part of creating custom cards, is finding just the right art for them. But let's keep going, shall we? We have 1 more card for the Flaming Rose. Knight of the Flaming Rose. 4 strength. Deploy. If this unit is adjacent to 2 knights, gain a shield. So I guess because they protect them. Makes sense. Order on the melee row. Damage an enemy unit by 1. Order on the range row. Boost an ally unit by 1. So I think this really fits into, like, the fact that he's a knight and a cleric. He feels really like a cleric in, like, D&D, where, you know, he can be in the front line and do damage, or he can be in the back line, you know, healing, you know, being a support. I really like that. And whenever you play a knight, he gains the charge. So his order effects are charge based, but you know, if you play knights, this guy gains a bunch of charges. And of course, because he is charge based, he can work in demo, and for whatever that's worth, it's worth everything, and you know it. But yeah, Flaming Rose as a whole, I really like it, and I hope that for future episodes of custom cards, we get to see more of these, because they really look like they're shaping up to be quite a cool archetype with their whole keyword and everything. I really like it, so keep these coming, Foltest the Great. Okay, we are getting towards the end. These next 3 cards are all from Arsent, or Arkent, probably Arsent, on Discord, and the final card is made by yours truly. So only 4 more to go. This is actually Sigmund Dijkstra. Open beta players will recognize this card art because this used to be a card. He's a 3 strength unit. Deploy melee, use a bronze unit from your deck. Now the creator, Arsent, has confirmed that this means play. Play a bronze unit from your deck. And then order on the range row, banish the leftmost card in your hand and then return this unit to your hand. 11 provisions. Now there was a lot of discussion on the Discord about this card, but I actually think it's really cool. So, like, you play him down on the melee row and you tutor a bronze unit. But then if you can move him, if Northern Realms gets some movement going, you move to the range row, and then you banish the leftmost card in your hand, which, you know, that might be like a shitty 4 provision card. You banish that, and then you get him back, and you can tutor another bronze unit. So you could get good value from this, and like just tutoring a bronze unit, you're getting the thinning. I really like this. Like, there was some back and forth in the discussion on the Discord, but I really like this card. I think it's really cool. I don't know how good it actually would be. Like, really depends on how easily you can manipulate the leftmost card in your hand. Of course, you can play from the left until you have something shitty there, and then pop Dijkstra back and get on the bronze card. So, really cool card. Really cool. Great work on this one. I approve. Now for this next one, this is Torque, or Torque. It's a Sylvan for Scoia'tael, actually. Deploy on the melee row, damage an enemy unit in front of Torque by 2 and gain 1 charge. Now, I don't know what in front means. I don't really think you can do, like directly in front cards. It would have to be just on the opposite row, so I guess on the melee row, I don't know. And he gains a charge, which, when he's on the ranged row, he can use that to move back to the melee row and re-trigger the deploy ability. So, really, it's a worse Tree and Boar. I'm sorry to say, but Tree and Boar is just this card, but way better. Like the whole gaining a charge thing, I don't know if that even would make sense. Like in Scoia'tael, and yeah. Like, I like what you're going for, but this is just Tree and Boar made worse. I'm sorry. But, great art. Fantastic art. Now this last one that Arson sent is definitely a lot more, you know, something that I definitely approve of. Why am I saying definitely so much? I guess I'm just definitely hyped for this custom card review. This is Milo Vanderbeck. He's a halfling for Northern Realms, and deploy on the range row, play a bronze unit from your graveyard and set its power to 1. Now the setting power to 1, probably, oh, I don't know. I can't really think of anything in Northern Realms that would be any good with this. But like in the past, Northern Realms has had a few resurrection cards. Like behind Skellige, like they've been like the runner-up for resurrection. And I mean, looking at the art, like that makes a lot of sense. Like you bring something back, but maybe it's really rough work, and it's kind of wounded. But there's not much Northern Realms units, bronze units especially, can do when their power is set to 1. Besides that, though, I really like this card. Like the art and the resurrection ability, really cool. But the setting power to 1, honestly, I think you can maybe bump this up a few provisions and just make it a straight up resurrection, potentially. Just give Northern Realms a better necromancy, maybe. I don't know. I love everything about this except the setting power to 1. Like, that is a little bit, you know. Like, Northern Realms is so much about, like, your units have to survive a turn, and that's really hard when the power is 1. But otherwise, awesome card. Now for the last one. It's your boy's card. It's Double Agent. A Nilfgaard card. It's a 5 strength spying unit. Don't fret. On deploy, it damages itself to 1 power, then spawn a copy of this unit on the opposite row. Whenever this unit has its power changed or is given a status, copy those effects on all copies of it on the board. I know that's a mouthful. But basically what happens is, you play this, you give your opponents 5 points, it damages itself down to 1 power. If you play with Artorius Vigo, it will already be 1 power, but like it will stay 1 power. So it used to be like damage itself by 4, but then you couldn't play with Vigo, and I really wanted that to be a possibility, so it goes over there, damage itself down to 1. then spawns a copy on your side of the board. And because it's spawn, I mean, it's supposed to be spawn and summon, so it doesn't get the deploy. So you get a 5 strength, they get a 1 strength. And then whenever something happens to any of the copies of this on the board, it happens to all of them. Because like it's a double agent, like it's trying to simulate that this is the same person on both sides of the board, you know. And you know, it works with like enemy boosting, like Nilfgaardian Knight. You boost your opponent's double agent, but then you also get the boost. There's like a mini Kahir in that sense. If they damage your double agent, they also lose theirs, so a little bit less of a trade-off. And yeah, it's just I don't know, I just really like the concept of this. This obviously probably wouldn't be the optimal way to do this card, but that's the concept at least. So yeah, that is it for this custom card video. It went on for a lot longer than I was expecting, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to send me your own custom cards, you can do that on Twitter or on the Discord server. We have a custom cards channel. Links for those are in the description. Or you can send it to me via email on aceofplaysyt@gmail.com. And of course, like, you can just send it in a YouTube comment. Preferably on this video. Like, don't post it on normal gameplay videos. Like, keep it on the custom cards channel, the custom cards series. So yeah. Let me know in the comments which of these custom cards was your favorite. Was it mine, or was it one of the other ones? Let me know. And I highly encourage you to keep sending me these cards, because this was a lot of fun, and I want to make a lot more videos of this. Bring up the custom card community. And yeah. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.